Hello and welcome to Marcodex. My name is Mark. Happy 2022, everyone. I hope you had a great year last year, and I hope you will have an even better year this year. It has been a while since I uploaded my last video. I'm in a master program, and last semester was a bit crazy, but I'm back and I will be posting more frequently. I have many projects put for this near future, like we're gonna do like a lot of live coding, how to ace your software engineer interviews, more projects for your portfolio, Q&As, you name it. So please make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you will always get an update when I upload a new video. Now, let's talk about our video today. Well, it's gonna be a wild video because in today's video we will be building my favorite game when I was a kid, which is, drum rolls, MineSweeper. I know, I am that old. Give me a break. Well, why did I choose this game specifically? Well, MineSweeper is a really fun game to play. However, it is really difficult. Well, I don't want to say really, but it's significantly difficult to build as a software. Many mutations, and it has like a lot of array mutations, which at least the way I build it, there's a lot of array mutations, which is always, it's fun. And with JavaScript, a lot of people, I don't see a lot of people talk about two-dimensional arrays in JavaScript because not a lot of people uses that. It's rare, but it is really challenging when it comes to mutate those, especially with JavaScript. And also, there's a lot of well, not a lot, but there is some algorithms involved into solving this, or at least just to get the answers, or looping against the whole arrays, and to get the right value. So it's really fun to build, and it's really challenging. So in my opinion, I mean, if you would build this on your own, it would significantly improve your coding skills, which after all, this is what we all need to do, or what we aspire at least to do. So our game is built entirely with React.js. It's my favorite library for a front end. And there is no APIs, there is no databases, nothing whatsoever. I actually build fun story. I actually build this whole, I recorded this whole video I have a month ago, but unfortunately, Node and the new npm just got with the version 8, and my whole code got broken. And also the css frame that I used over there, it got deprecated as well. So the whole video just went to drain, so I had to rebuild it again. However, I had a lot of fun rebuilding this game a second time, so that tells you this is really going to be a fun experience and a fun project to build. Now, enough chit-chatting, and let's get to code. Alright, so before we get into any code, we gotta understand the rules of the game so we can understand what to write as code, right? So the first rule is that we always gonna look at each, in our grid, at each box, this box in particular, if we wanna look at it, right? If there is a number in there, let's say like 1, that means that the surrounding area has one bomb, right? So for example, if we look at this box right here, or like the presentation we have right here, we have like a bomb. So all the surrounding, they will be at 111, right? Because we have just only one bomb in that perimeter. Now let's kind of see like a couple of examples. So like for example, right here, if we imagine the box in the middle, this one, I want you to guess what's the number is going to be here. Well, obviously it's going to be 3, and that's because we have 1, we have 2, we have 3 bombs in the parameter, or the perimeter, sorry. And another example, we can see that this box right here, or this area in here, or the cell, what's the number is going to be here? It's going to be 2, because we have just only 2 bombs in the surrounding neighborhood. So that's kind of basically how the game works, and you just like work through this game by process of elimination. As we can see right here, that this basically this one has one bomb next to it, or basically in this perimeter, because as we can see, like the perimeter is actually empty. However, this here says 2, and we can see that there is only 2. So the power of elimination, we know this is a 1, and this is gonna be the bomb. Actually, we're gonna know exactly which one it is, and then we can just unclick that. The game is very simple. Obviously, there is more rules into this game. These basically are the rule that we're gonna cover, and this is how we're gonna build this game. We gotta actually like think how to kind of reverse engineer all that. So let's stop talking in here and let's jump right into code. All right, so we're gonna open our IDE. I'm using VS Code in this case. We wanna make sure, basically I'm running npm 8. I'm not sure if this is gonna work on older versions, but if you haven't updated your npm, I guess this is the time. And my node version is 16. So we're gonna start from here. We're gonna run npx create react -app, and I'm in, if I didn't mention, I'm in a directory called MineSweeper, and that's why I did the dot in here. That's basically is gonna create the React app within this directory. I could have went above one directory and in projects, and then did npx create react app and then MineSweeper in here. Either way, it works. I also want to mention, if you just updated your npm and you ran npx create react app and it didn't work, highly likely you want to install that as a global package, create react app, I mean. So try that. If you got an error says like you want to install create react app, that's probably why. So you just want to do npm install -g create react app, and that will just make sure that this package is included within your local npm. So now React is installing. It's creating its React app, and we're waiting for this to install, so we will be right back once it's done. All right, so now we're back. Let's start it. Let's start it. Let's do npm start or yarn start. I usually use yarn because it's faster. With OBS running, OBS is the software that I'm using to record this. Kind of my whole laptop gets slower, so I'm using yarn for this one. You could use npm obviously. So let's reload. We should see the spinny up and running once this is reloaded. Development server. All right, while this starting, this is really taking too long, I guess because of Webpack. Anyways, so we have our app running. That's perfect. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and basically clean up this application. So we have a lot of files that we don't want to use. Maybe like for projects that we're actually productionizing, we can add those kind of report vitals or web vitals, or you could set up some tests. Let's see, we're gonna remove the logo. We can move all this, and we're just gonna put hi. Great. And then we probably don't need this, and we don't want this as well. Perfect. So now we have this hi. Awesome. All right, what else should we do? I actually want to use SCSS for this one. I want to use Sass instead of just the regular CSS. So let's do that. So what we want to do is yarn add -d, and then we're going to add node Sass as a development dependency. So we're going to wait for this one to finish. All right, so now that is done, we should just rename this file to be in a CSS. Do you want this one? No, we can just delete it. Move to trash. Do we have did we import it? Yes, we did. Let's remove it. Save that. We go back to app and we just add the CSS. And because we just changed our CSS library or the package, we need to restart our server. All right, well, it seems looking better. These corners is just because like that, because of we removed the node.js, which, sorry, the index CSS, which basically has all these margin zeroed out, which we can just add right here. So we can just say body, and we can just say margin is 0, and that should fix that issue. Perfect. Awesome. So that's that. We can get rid of all this. We don't need it, but for now, let's just focus on the task at hand. All right, so the first part is done. We created our React app. We cleaned it up. We have the SCSS, the node Sass in here. So that's all good. We cleaned up the whole app. Now the next step, we wanted to hook up Material UI. So let's just go ahead and do that right now. So we're gonna do material, if I can spell UI. And we're gonna go to installation. And in installation, we're gonna copy this yarn. Go back here. We're gonna do that. And while that is installing, we want to add a couple of things. We want to add the Roboto font. I like the Roboto font. Why not? And let's go to public. This is going to be added in the index HTML, the main one. So we're going to add this one right here. Let's do actually at the top. So that's that. Let's do font icons. I had an issue before that I needed to add this, so I'm just gonna add it for the sake of it. Because if you remember my motto, why not? Oh, that's a squeaky voice. All right, so let's just move along and install the icons in here. Those SVG icons are different from this one. This is using material icons, and these ones uses I guess also material, but like it's their own packages or something like that. So these are two different things. These are the icons for the first one. So we're just gonna install both of those again, because why not? So that's got added. While this is getting installed, what we want to do, we just want to test if this is actually running. So I'm just gonna import a button. And this is going to be at MUI and then material. I forgot. We need to deconstruct it. There we go. Button. Let's see now. And now we have a button. Perfect. And we can see clearly that the button is actually working as intended. I've noticed that the font is not actually loaded. All right, I'll debug this later. But for now, I guess we have our button in here. That's great. So I think what we want to do next is to actually, let's get a proper button in here instead, like this one, the contained one. Perfect. So now we got that. Awesome. All right. So the next step, I guess, to debug why the fonts is not working. Let me check that and get back to you. All right. So I figured out for some reason I had to add font family Roboto as well, just so Roboto get affected. So anyways, that was annoying. Yeah. So now we have React is fully installed. we have material Y got hooked. Now what we want is basically just to, I don't know, create just a layout just to have it in the middle. So I thought to use some templates from Material UI. So let's see, if we look at templates, yeah, this sign-in seems to be nice. I just want things to be centered. We don't want the TSX. We're using JSX, and I guess what we need is only this container. Yeah, this is all what we need. So let's get back to the app. We're gonna add the container as the main wrapper of everything else, and then we're just gonna import that. And if you noticed, I actually didn't import bind container like this. So I can just basically keep re-importing stuff or deconstructing stuff each time I want to add something, because it's annoying each time you just want to have a new line. And you can see right here, there's a perfect example. We have a lot of lines of code. We can just make it as one. Anyways, that's just my note. So we have a container in here. That container should center stuff. Yes, that's exactly what I needed. And then what we want, let's get back to that styling, because this is really, so let's get the styling in here, and let's go back here. And let's say what we want is the body to have this background. So everything should look great. We can just remove the rest, just to clean it up a little bit. And then also I wanted to create a centered vector or a div. So this app right here, which we could call center. And then we're gonna do center. And then we're gonna just say display flex. And I think there is a new property called place content, which is center. This is actually replaces align items, justify content, and align content as well. You could just actually use place content in place of those. I think the only browser that it doesn't work on is Internet Explorer. And again, this is basically Internet Explorer is really old. So either way, it works on Edge and other browsers as well. And yeah, so it uses align content and justify content. There it is. I was wrong about align items. So we can just place content in the center, and then also we want to use the height, and then we're going to do align items as center. So that should center stuff. And basically what I want to do, and we will add flex direction column, and then go back to app and also remove this header. That'll make our life easier. And we need to, what else? Oh, center. There we go. And then we're just gonna do color, oops, white, and then, gosh, font, weight, bold, font size, 1 rem. Okay, make it 3. There we go. Perfect. So we have our center CSS. That's done. We added the material UI, we created React tab. Now, the next and the last step of this video, what I want is to display a grid in here, and this grid should be a 10 by 10, basically just like a simple 10 by 10 grid. It's going to be a 2D array. So we're going to see how we're going to create a 2D array, and also we're going to loop over it we're going to use the grid, display grid, just to show these, boxes. So let's get right to it. So first of all, what I was thinking, I wanted to create pages folder, and that pages folder will have like a board in it. So that's kind of like our main board. Let's just create our boilerplate in here. And then we can just do all of this, move right here. And then we just move that as well. And then right here, we're just gonna import board from board, but it's not gonna be board in this case. We're gonna do it from pages and then board. Great. And then we're just gonna import that. Awesome. So that's that. Yeah, needs formatting. Let's just format that pretty quick. All right. Don't worry about the breakage in there. Let's refresh. Things looking great. Perfect. So now let's just create our 2D array, I guess. All right. So first of all, our dimensions. Let's just create an object, and we're going to call it dimension. And this object will have a key of width, which is 10, and a key of height of 10. I'm always lazy. I always like to shorten stuff, but I'm not gonna do that this time. So height, perfect. So that's our dimension. And the next thing is, what I want to do is actually to create the 2D array. So we're gonna say array 2D equal, and I will use the array method. And the array method will take it will take a length, as you can see right here, which I'm going to use dimension for, and that width. And then from there, I'm just going to fill it, and then I will map over this array. And then I don't want to return anything, but I just need the index of the height in here, right? So that's that. And then I will go inside that map, and each time that map will happen, we just gonna use another array method. So basically the first array method is creating all the columns, right? So we have like 10 columns. So, and each time it creates actually a row. Each time creates a row, it creates 10 cells inside a column. We will console it out so we can see how it looks. So we're gonna do dimension as well, but this time that height as a length of the array, so whatever the length of that height will be. And then from there we just gonna also do is this extra? No, is this not? So fill, and then the map, we're gonna do the same thing. We're not gonna return anything, but then we wanted to return the index of the width, and then from there we're just gonna return the index of that width, and that's it. Let's console log that out, and actually let's see if the formatter, there we go, this looks better now. All right, and let's console that out. Let's wait a bit. Perfect. All right, so that's our 2D array, and that's exactly what I want to display in here, but instead of this right here as an array, I wanted to display it as a grid. So let's do that. Before we do that, actually, let me show you. So each time it looped over, let me explain this a bit in detail. So this array method, it creates an array of a dimension, a specific dimension, and I filled it because I don't want it to have any null values. And then I mapped over each single element of that array. So it created the first width, which is like, let's say, for example, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, which is like the 10 elements within the main array. So those are the 10 elements. And then we went inside those, and then we just created another array within it that did the same thing, but instead of using the width, we used the height, and that created the columns within that second array, if that makes a bit of a sense. So that's kind of like where we at. Perfect. All right. Last but not least, we wanted to display those. So let's do this. So we're going to create a div. And this div will have an inline styling. Let's close that div for now. I like just to make things neat. We're going to display as grid this time. And then we're just going to use grid template for this one. We're just going to use template columns, and then I'm going to use the repeat method, and then this method will take two things. It will take the how many cells you want, which basically, you guessed it, dimension dot width, and then comma, we will take like whatever the width of that column. So I chose to be 30 pixels just so it could be seen, and then actually easier just to copy the whole thing. Change columns to rows, and then height. Perfect. So that created our, let's say, grid container, and then we gonna loop over that new array 2D. And then this will return two things. It will return the content of that row. And then I wanted also to grab the index. Next, we will grab that row, and then we will loop inside that row, because as you remember, we have like 10 rows and each row has 10 columns. So we're going to map over it. Sorry about those bubbles. I couldn't figure out how to remove them. And nobody actually commented out and told me like how to, so it's gonna stay. So we're gonna have a column in here because that's what we're returning back, and we will use J as the second parameter. And then from there, we will basically just, let me think, we're just gonna create a div, honestly, and this div will contain the column. Now, yeah, that should be it. So let's go back and see. And okay, that's a big of a jam in there. Let's try to remove. And boom, perfect. We have our arrays and they are displayed correctly as I wanted them. Now I need to style them a bit because these are not looking great. So let's just do like an inline styling pretty quick. I'm just gonna change those later, but for now, just for just to see how they're gonna look like. So 1 pixel, we're gonna give them a border of 1 pixel solid black, and of course, do not forget the quotes around this. And then we wanted to justify content. We could do the place content in here as well. And then we can just say center, center. And then we can just display flex. Perfect. Do I need anything else? I don't think so. That should give me awesome. And then we need justify, what is it? Align items. What was the, keep forgetting, because this is a new thing. Align content, yeah. So I need align items because I want to center them. There we go. So they are centered. Instead of black, I'm just going to go with white. Perfect. Great, so now I have my grids. Now, I guess this will be, oh, oops, I have an error. Oh, we need to have a, well, obviously we need to have a key. We don't want to forget the key. So let's just do, let's see. So let's use I-J. Or we can just say row and column, because technically they are the same. But let's use I and J. And I'll show you actually what I and J in here. This is very important later because we wanted to know the dimension of each cell to know where to put a mine or where to put a number. So we let's just use, I don't know, data dash dimension equals to the same. So just to show you what it will look like. So if we go to this element, we can see that it's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on and so forth. And that's very important later because we wanted to know the dimension exactly of that spot, of that cell or, you know, card or whatever you want to call it, to know what we have inside of it. Perfect. So for now, we completed our goal for today's video. So we created our React tab. So we had like 3 goals. Let me repeat, or to sum up what we just did. Our goal was to create the React tab, to connect Material UI, and also just display a simple grid onto the main page. We did all those. We created the React app, we connected Material UI, we had some we had some hiccups a bit on the road, but that's totally fine. That's every single development experience I ever had. You're always going to have something that is not expected, so you have to kind of figure it out. And then last but not least, displaying the grid or the minimal grid into the screen. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for staying with me, and thank you so much for all the comments and likes you have put on this video. I'm pretty sure you liked it so far, but if you are really interested in continuing the series, please make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell down at the bottom. And as always, stay curious.